So this is going to be objective 2-2. We're going to start with multiplying by a monomial. I'm going to show you a couple examples. Once you feel good with that, we're going to skip and we're going to do a second PowerPoint and go into multiplying by binomials because it's the same thing, it just gets slightly bigger. So I think you'll be okay with this. What does a monomial mean, by the way? Mono means one. Okay? So if it is a monomial, that means one term, meaning we're only going to have one thing on the outside that we're going to be multiplying by. Okay? So this should look like something we've already done. That's why I feel like y'all are going to be okay with it. Okay? What do you think we're going to do to multiply these two things together? And what are we multiplying? Okay, we're multiplying be more specific. We're multiplying the negative 3x squared, meaning that is a monomial. Do you understand that? That is one term. Do you know what we're multiplying by? What would we call this thing right here? How many terms is it? 3 terms. Terms are separated by pluses and minuses, right? Do you understand that? So there's a minus and there's a plus. That's separating the terms. So there's 1, 2, 3 terms. We call that a trinomial. Okay? I want you to understand if you can't see the terms, then you're not going to know what to multiply to. Does that make sense? If you can't see the separate terms. So we're multiplying a monomial times a trinomial. So when we multiply, basically, you're going to distribute, which we've already been doing. That's why I said you guys should feel comfortable with this. Okay? When it's one thing on the outside, you're just going to distribute to everything on the inside. And you're going to multiply your numbers with your numbers and your x's with your x's. And when you multiply powers, what do you do to the exponents? You add them. Okay? When you multiply powers, you add the exponents. So negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. You add the exponents. Negative 3x squared times negative 1x. So negative 3 times negative 1, positive 3. What's x squared times x? This x to the 3rd, because it has a 1 with it, right? 2 plus 1 would be x to the 3rd. Negative 3x squared times 4 is negative 12. What do you do with the x squared? Just bring it down. Okay? Here's my question of the day. Can you add these? No. Based on what we learned yesterday, you can only add things that have a degree of 4 with other x to the 4ths. X cubes with x cubes, x squares with x squares. They don't match. You can't add them. So you're done. Okay? That's all it is. Okay? So let's see if you can do this one by yourself. Okay? Try that one by yourself. All right. Who wants to talk me through it? Go for it. 5a squared times negative 4a squared is negative 20 a to the 4th. Because when you multiply powers, you add the exponents. Okay? 5a squared times 2a is 10a to the 3rd. Any questions on that? Okay. 5a squared times negative 7. Negative 30, 35. I know. 35. Oh. Negative 35a squared. Okay. Any questions on that? Can we go any further? No. Why not? Okay. They're not the same variable to the same power. Okay. Let me see something real quick. That's where I want to go. Let's make this one 3. Okay, just make it 3 instead of 4. Okay. What's different about this one? It has 2 variables. No big deal. You're going to do your numbers with your numbers, your case with your case, and your m's with your m's. Okay, and if it doesn't have an exponent with it, what is it? A 1. So that first k is a k to the first. All right, Jesus, help me out. So 4k m squared times 8k m squared. And one little thing before you start, one thing I want to see you guys doing today is when it does not have a number with it, I want you to put a little 1 right there with it. Okay, put a 1 and put a 1. Because if you don't put those ones will come back to bite you. Okay, so here we go. 4k m squared times 8k m squared is, hold on, let Jesus go. Very good. Excellent. Okay. 4k m squared times 2k squared m is, 2 plus 1 would be m to the third. Does that make sense? Okay. 4k m squared times 5k is 20k squared. Very good. Okay, and you just drop that down. Okay, how many got it right? Do you know where you went wrong?
I just got messed up with the exponents.
Okay.
And then, like, at the very end, I didn't know if you had to put km with the 5k.
Right. So you do your 4 with your 5. You with me so far?
Yeah.
You do your k with your k. And then what do you do with this guy?
You do it with the...
You just drop him down.
Oh, so, okay. So
Like if he doesn't match with anything, you just pull him down. Does that make sense? Okay. That's okay. These are good questions. All right. I'm going to pause for a second. Okay. So we're going to skip over to binomials now. Does everybody understand why I'm saying it's a binomial times a binomial? How many terms? 2 terms times 2 terms. Okay. Now, listen carefully. There are 2 ways to think of this. Yes. You want?
I know.
Okay. Go ahead.
This is where we're going to use FOIL.
This is where we're going to use FOIL. Okay, so FOIL is a little acronym to help us remember how to do this. Okay, let me show you the technical way first, because some of you may prefer that first. Okay, what you're actually doing is you're actually just going to distribute. But instead of distributing one thing, I want you to pretend the -5 is not there. What would you distribute? 2y to the...
2y to 5.
Thank you. There we go. Give me a pen. Oh, okay. 2y to the y, and then 2y to the -6. Okay, so let's do that. So pretend the -5 is not there. You with me on this?
Yeah.
You're going to distribute the first term to everything in the second binomial. So tell me, 2y to the first times 2y to the first is 2y to the second. Do you understand that? Because there's a 1 right here. So 2 times 1 is 2. Y to the first times y to the first is y to the second. Okay? And then 2y times -6 is -12y. Okay? Now, I want you to go and pretend the 2y is not there. What would you do with the -5? You would distribute him to each of those. So -5 to the y would be -5y. -5 times -6? Positive 30. Now here's the question of the day. Are you finished? It's never finished. I asked a minute ago and you said yes, it was finished. Like, oh, but I didn't say it like that? Okay. I don't know how I said it. But anyway, you're not finished. Does anything match? What matches? These are the same variable to the same power. You with me? So then you can add those. So negative 12y, negative 5y, negative 17y. And why is it, everybody says, I thought we were adding exponents. Why is it just y? You're adding. Remember, when you add them, they don't change. It's so right here, we're going back to what we did yesterday. We're going back to addition. Okay, plus 30. Okay, so that's one way to think of it. Okay, and you need to make a decision today. Like, are you going to think of it as distributive property, or are you going to think of it as FOIL? Okay, FOIL stands for what? First, outer, inner, last. Now let's check it out. Let's see if it's the same thing. First means the first number in this binomial times the first number there. Is that not what we did first a minute ago? 2y times y. First times first. Okay? Then what did we multiply after that? We did 2y times -6. That is your outers, two numbers, the outsides. You with me? Okay. Then what did we do next? Then we went to the negative 5 and did the negative 5 times the y. That's the inner. And then you did your last. We did negative 5 times negative 6, which is the last term in this binomial times the last term there. Okay? So as a class, I want you to tell me, do you want me to call it FOIL, first, outer, inner, last? And we talk about first, outer, inner, last? Or do you want me to use distributive property? It's the same thing. Okay? Then let's talk distributive, because I don't want to confuse you. Okay? All right, so let's talk distributive. So we're going to take the first term, and we're going to distribute it to who? So 2a times 3a is 6a squared. Okay, then you're going to take 2a to what? 2a to negative 4 would be negative 8a. Now you're going to do what? Now you're going to use the 5 to each one of them. Okay, 5 times 3a is positive 15a. Positive 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Are you finished?
Yes. No, negative 8 plus 15a.
Negative 8a plus 15a. And you can do that in your calculator. So it would be positive 7a minus 20. Okay, but that's okay.
I knew the answer. As soon as I used my calculator.
Okay.
I knew the answers.
Any questions? All right, so I want you to try one on your own. If I could give you a word of advice, one of the most major skills you need to know in algebra is how to FOIL. Yeah. So much so that you already kind of knew it, because it's an important thing that you see a lot. Okay? So we need a lot of practice on this. About this. Here we go. If we distribute, let me get a white. X times x is?
X squared, positive x squared.
Is x squared. Okay. Here we go. X times negative 3?
Negative 3x.
Negative 3x. Any questions on that?
No.
Positive 3 times positive x is positive 3x. And then positive 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Okay? And then, does anything match?
Yes. Negative 3x plus 3x.
And what happens?
Zero. It equals 0.
Yeah.
All you're left with is x squared minus 9. And that's your final answer.
And that's your final answer. Okay, any questions on that?
No.
Okay, just a couple more. So, what's different about this one?
Well,
It's more fancy because it's got what? Two variables. No big deal. Same thing. we go. 4x times 3x is 12x squared. 4x times 2y, you do your numbers times your numbers, so 4 times 2 is 8, and then xy. You just smush them together if they don't match, okay? Negative 2y times 3x is negative 6xy. Then negative 2y times positive 2y is negative 4y squared. And the question is, does anything match? So, what do you notice about foiling? What normally matches? The two middle ones should match, and if they don't match, something's wrong. Okay, so plus 2xy minus 4y squared. Okay, any questions on how we got that? Now is a great time before I put you on your practice work. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there.